March Madness is upon us. And couple that with the NBA season is going on, actually going to the playoffs. A better way to bet on those games and games in other sports like the Premier League and everything else, or even Major League Soccer, than betus.com, where you can get 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500 by using the promo code TKT for the Klown Times. So what are these other perks here? You can bet on the go. You can bet anytime, anywhere on your mobile device. You get fast pass, or you get paid immediately every single time. And last but not least, you can you could do live betting where you can bet during the game, getting the early and the best lines. Again, use my promo code TKT for the Klown Times to get up to 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500. So again, not to sound like a broken record, but go to betus.com where the game begins. And so now we're close. Speaking of SWACs and FCS levels and whatnot, we'll close this college football seminar on this. Someone in those same groups as that were commenting, funny things come up in the comment section, right? So someone said, in addition, this to my super conference idea, what is the viability of the SWAC having FBS aspirations, becoming one of the group of 5, maybe, in the FBS? Like not only just the super conference thing, but how is the viability of going FBS altogether? Becoming, again, one of the group of 5, well, it'll be group of 6, but still, on the FBS level, to challenge the likes of the Sun Belt, Conference USA, even though that conference is kind of dying. What the MAC, the Mountain West, and the American Athletic Conference. I don't know. I don't know how much money those schools have in their coffers. I don't know if, say, a Bethune-Cookman would be able to make that jump. I'm not sure. Them being a small private school, I don't like their chances. And again, I don't know. But I'm just thinking out loud. FAMU may be able to do it. Southern might be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State, if they keep Dion for a little while, they may be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Grambling may be able to do it. I'm just thinking of teams that may be financially able to do it. So I don't think they all are there yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It would be cool maybe 10 years down the road if they keep on this upward trend of attendance and media exposure, ESPN investing in them. It may come there, it may eventually come to pass, especially when they have that increase the revenue share amongst the, not as we currently sit, 12 institutions in the SWAC. But what do you think about that? I think it's pretty intriguing for a long
It
term.
is intriguing, but there's certain things that need to be done in order for that to happen. Now, forget about the money they're going to need to raise and to have, so they can have enough scholarships so they can be deemed an no, because they're already Division I, but I'm guessing that they will need in order for them to be an FBS program. There's some other things that need to be looked at too. And here's a list of things. I peeped the Division I manual before the show started, so I jotted some notes down on some things that are of note. Now, okay, I'm not even going to be a super nerd here and name the sections within the manual, because I actually did that too. But here's some of the things that you need to take into consideration. Each conference needs to have 8 Division I eligible members. So that's something, of course, they would already have, being that they currently have 12, right? And within those members, they all need to sponsor at least 6 men's sports and at least 8 women's sports, including a men's and women's basketball in addition to football. They already got that. That's already a lock. This is where it gets more interesting. At least, of course, at least 16 varsity sports must be offered by each school. Of these 16, 2 men's mixed and 2 women's offerings must be a team sport, blah, blah, blah. No fewer than 6 men, no fewer than 8 women. I already said that. Becoming an FCS institution, go ahead. Yeah, becoming an FCS institution before an FCS institution, maybe apply for reclassification to FBS. The institution must receive a bona fide invitation for membership from an FBS conference or a conference that previously met the definition of an FBS conference. So that's something that you have to look at as well. Mm-hmm. What conference is going to be willing to invite the SWAC up to FBS? That goes back to revenue sharing. Yo, if I already got a pie to share with 8 Bamas and I already got 8 slices, and here comes this dude that we've just disrespected a lot of times because, you know what I'm saying? He's our Southern cousin. You know, we don't necessarily like that dude too much, but he gets attention because he likes to show off. Mm. You want a piece of this pie too? So you're telling me I got to go ahead and make this 8 pieces go for 9 people? I don't know if I'm going to be down for that. But because of certain things that have happened within the NCAA as of recent years, there's a possibility that the SWAC may either be capable of getting a waiver or take the NCAA to court so that they could move up to the FBS level. Now, I don't know if necessarily the SWAC has enough money to deal with the legal fees in order to do that, but it's happened before where someone has done that and gotten a waiver, primarily Liberty recently, who did it when they moved up, you know, and they didn't get that invitation. So, you know, they went ahead and they were capable of doing so. Mm-hmm. So we at least have precedent in recent years where that is capable, right? Now, it says here that the biggest potential obstacle is the attendance situation, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about, you know, as a conference, as a whole, they average the most in terms of attendance of head-to-head conference against conference. Sure. Now, the rule is currently FCS teams do not have an attendance requirement, but FBS schools do. And they're going to need at least to average 15,000 a year for 2 years in order for them to qualify as an FBS program. That's where part of the issue comes in. Because, of course, you know, you talk about the attendance. As of right now, there are only 3 HBCUs that currently average over 15,000 as of this past season. One, of course, being Jackson State, that's currently averaging over 42,000 per game this past season. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, with Southern, that's averaging close to 19,000, and Florida A&M, which averaged about 17,000. So that's only 3 of your 12 teams. You're going to need everybody else to step it up. The only other team that's close to 15,000 that didn't even make it is Alabama State, where they came in at 10.8. So, yeah, you're going to have an issue. Well, you're having an issue where not only are you going to need for your schools to average 15,000 a year for 2 years, you're going to have to make sure that your stadiums fit 15,000. So that's another minimum requirement that you're going to need. And as of right now, Bethune-Cookman, Mississippi Valley State, potential invitees, Clark Atlanta and Albany State all have stadiums that seat under 12,000, with Bethune and Mississippi State currently at 10, Clark Atlanta at 6, and Albany State currently at 11. So, of course, what's going to need to be done? Renovation. Now, we've already talked about the money that's going to be needed to renovate facilities to attract talent.
Yes.
You're also going to need it if you're going to look to move up to the FBS level. And you got cases in point with Coastal Carolina, who recently left the FCS to move up to FBS. Right. Their stadium at one point in time, actually back in 2016, it was capable of seating a little bit over 9,000. They spent $32 million to expand their stadium, and Liberty, whose stadium seated 12,000 back in 2010, it took them $22 million to expand their stadium to go over to 19,000. So you're going to need at least $20 million to redo your stadium. And I'm talking to you, Mississippi Valley State, Bethune-Cookman, Clark Atlanta, and Fort Valley State. And we're already talking about Bethune-Cookman, who's in recent years had a lot of financial issues. Possibility the same could be said about Mississippi Valley State too. And then you're talking about two programs that are currently D2 programs. Well, they have enough money to generate so they can go ahead and move up, or can they be given enough money so they can do those renovations? So those are things that you need to take in. Those are major things in my eyes that need to be taken into consideration before they can even think about moving up to the FBS level. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that these are things that you're going to need to do in order to make that possible.
Interesting. So it remains to be seen. But the moral of the story is, and we talked about this in podcasts past podcasts. SWAC is still on top of a gold mine, potential gold mine. Now, as much as they want to grow it or nurture it, remains to be seen. And it comes to being smart choices, being smart fiscally, and thinking long term. It's going to be a lot of moving parts, but at least to the point that to have this conversation about SWAC, possibly making big moves down the line, it's exciting as hell.
It can be, right? Now, you say they're sitting on a gold mine. You know, gold mine, again, is relative. Are we sitting on a Shaq gold mine in terms of him and his many businesses that he currently has, you know, with the Papa John's and, and the printer money and the icy hot money and the lotion money and the shoe money and all that stuff? Or are we talking about Jeff Bezos gold mine, which dwarfs a Shaq gold mine?
Right,
but
of course.
Still, it's all relative, and money is money. And there's no such thing as enough money. But you know, the thing is, if they're capable of getting into those big media markets like Nashville and the Atlanta area, it most definitely benefit them, as well as Houston and a potential New Orleans area, to have all of those regions within their belt so they can go ahead and use that as a negotiation chip as it pertains to whatever network that they decide to move to or do consistent business with, so they can continue to generate revenue through TV deals and advertising money and make money that way. That will most definitely be a huge benefit to them if that is the direction that they decide to move into, so they can go ahead and create a different way of sustaining themselves fiscally. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this thing plays out, and whether or not the SWAC brass is capable enough of making what they currently have become that much more beneficial for them financially.